Matthew 25. I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was naked and you clothed me. I was thirsty and you gave me water. As commanded by God, as commanded by Jesus.
Just east of Mockingbird Lane, a few blocks from Abilene High School, stands a cluster of buildings that look like any other industrial buildings in the neighborhood. But upon closer inspection, there's something different about this place. A buzz and glow that can only be felt. Love. And that's the key ingredient of Love and Care Ministries.
Love and Care Ministries is a Christ-centered organization that helps people with needs, that helps people with food and clothing primarily, but we do a number of things beyond that. It is a shining light in the community of Abilene.
Love and Care Ministries may be Abilene-centric, but the roots of the organization began halfway around the world, in Russia. A mission trip changed the life of one man, and the seeds of this change began to grow upon his return to the United States.
I went to work for WTU in 1985. Worked for them for 13 and a half years and believed that I was going to retire there at 55. That was my goal, my plan. But in probably 1996, I started seeing a transition because I had been to Russia already. And by being in Russia, that's where God began to change my heart. One night, probably about 10:30, I was talking to a gentleman on the phone, and he said, "So what is the desire of your heart?" And I said, "Well, you know, God knows my heart." And he said something that really sparked in me. He said, "That's not what I asked you." And I realized that, you know, communication with God is very important. And so I hung up the phone and I knelt behind my couch at 10:30 at night and I said, "Lord, the desire of my heart is to help the poor and needy the rest of my life." And so about 4 months later, I left West Texas Utilities. You begin to think of the security thing, but there's also the side of trusting God and Him saying, "Mark, I need you to leave your job. I need you to trust me and do as I'm called you to do." And so I did that. And so my wife was like, "Well, what are we going to do?" And I said, "I don't know. I just know that God has called us to do this and it's going to be okay." And that's what it turned out to be. I started Love and Care in '95 with Jim Sayer. That Sunday afternoon in the 1st of January, the Lord puts us together. We took out 25 cups of hot soup that Jim had prepared and got in the back of my pickup truck and we went around the community of Abilene not knowing what we were doing. We just knew that we were both called to do it together. And we found 5 people that day.
Little by little, and year by year, Love and Care was blessed with growth, just as the need in the community continued to grow.
We've been doing street ministry for about a year and a half and started praying for a building. One Saturday morning, about 8 o'clock, I was reading the paper and it said, "Church for sale." I thought, how do you sell a church? And so I told my wife, I said, "I'm going to go down there and I'm going to see that building." God began to show me the vision of what that was supposed to look like. He said, "This is the church called The Mission. This is where the counseling will take place, and then eventually this is where your food and clothing ministry will be." Because see, in the beginning, a lot of the clothing that Jim and I gave away was in my garage at home. And so once we received that building, the first building we got, it was probably about 4 months later, then eventually a small kitchen opened up and a clothing ministry opened up on the end of the building.
I have seen the kitchen, I would more than double because we've changed it a couple of times. The dining room has been enlarged. We've been so blessed with a building donated. That is now our food pantry. We have the prayer room, which is open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Our clothing ministry, that building was donated. And you can't say doubled or tripled. It's massive compared to what it used to be. We have a warehouse now that was given to us. It's just amazing to see the way God has worked here. God just blesses and blesses this place.
The most important thing that we do is help people with food and clothing and those things. But even beyond that, it's not just those items, it's the relationship aspect that we drive for.
A lot of our folks, when they come here, they're broken. They're so broken. They hurt deeply. And we get to love on them. And we get to see their lives change.
There is no other entity at this scale that does what they do. And if they were not here, it'll be a significant void. In many ways, Love and Care Ministries, I think, exemplify what it means to live in Abilene. That we have enough people that sincerely love and care. They're willing to sacrifice financially, with their time, and with their resources.
Each day, countless articles of clothing are given out, food boxes are made, meals are served, showers are provided, and most importantly, lives are changed. And the giving extends well beyond the borders of the city of Abilene.
A man came to us about 3 years ago in Abilene and said, I'll give y'all a building if y'all bring Love and Care to Merkel.
I didn't jump. I like to pray. I like to make sure it's the right thing. And so the next day we went over and looked at the building, and it was an incredible building.
And so we came down here and remodeled it. And throughout the 3 years, we've seen a huge growth in people. It started from about 50 people coming in through the door on a monthly basis. Now we see around 200 people come through the door on a monthly basis. And that's people coming in to get food, or coming to get clothes, or just come to get prayer, or just any kind of counseling.
Since then, First Baptist Clyde has called us, and we've been working with them for a little over 2 years. And it looks like by 2016-17, we could be in Clyde with a building, doing the very same thing we do here in Merkel, just at a smaller scale. And the people over there seem excited, get a lot of volunteers. They have a big need there.
The need is growing everywhere. And day by day, Love and Care Ministries is there, changing lives. One of those lives changed was Larry Hulse.
Didn't truly know God until I started volunteering here, and then everything just changed after that.
For more information on how you can help Love and Care Ministries, visit lcmin.com.
On the corner of North 3rd and Fannin Street sits the Love and Care Ministries Food Pantry, a place where anyone, homeless or poor, can receive the food they need with a smile from this man. Larry Hulse has been working for Love and Care for over 4 years. He has a home and shares God's love with everyone he meets. But his life wasn't always like this. 5 years ago, Larry was homeless. After serving 10 years in the military, Larry returned home and lost his car and several jobs. While searching for a new job, his next loss would be life-changing.
I was staying with a family member, and we were like splitting the bills and stuff. And then one day they said, you got to find a new place to stay, even though I was walking everywhere trying to find a job. And I didn't have any other place to go. So I started walking, and then I found this area.
With only some clothes and a sleeping bag to his name, Larry found the most comfortable spot he could and made a temporary home.
The rug's still there from whenever I was here. I didn't know if anybody was there or what was back there. And it's amazing hearing all the different noises when you're not used to sleeping outside. I thought I was gonna get sprayed by a skunk when I was first there. What I would do is I'd go by the restaurants up there after they were closed to see what they threw away, see if it was still good, and then found a water bottle, rinsed it out real good, and used that for water. I was out here like 2 to 4 nights until I heard like a really weird noise. The voice in my head said, "Get out of here." I didn't know who that was at the time, but now I know who that was.
Larry didn't wait to find out what was in the woods. He headed downtown and found sanctuary on the doorstep of a local church. There, he made a bed behind some bushes and drifted off to sleep. When he awoke the next morning, Larry would take his first steps towards getting his life back together. The voice from the night before had led him to Breakfast on Beach Street, or Bob's, a local collaboration of churches who feed the homeless and poor.
I was hearing people talking, and I didn't realize that Bob's was right there because I didn't know about Bob's. So I went in there, and then they welcomed me in, and then got something to eat. Well, from here, I was determined to get off the street, so I went to the library to look up applications online, since I knew that a lot of places were going online, and filled out the application because I had a library card. And then I ran into this other homeless, and then he noticed I was starting to get a beard a little bit, and then he says, "You've been to Love and Care?" And I asked him what that was, and then I followed him there, and he showed me where Love and Care was. And then I started volunteering and then checking for jobs in the afternoon. After about a year and a half, the clothing coordinator called me in his office and told me that they hired me. When they told me they hired me and I got my first paycheck, a lady that was here told me about Gerard Realty, and then I found an apartment off of Grape for what I could afford. It was a garage apartment, but I didn't care. It was mine. And then the one that did the security, he really couldn't do it anymore, and so they asked me if I would do it. So I said yeah, and then moved into this apartment. That was an eye-opener, being homeless, and then found Love and Care, and then there's just something about the people here that I couldn't figure out what it was. Like the ladies in the office and in the kitchen, it's like there's something about them that I couldn't figure out what it was. They were always happy, always nice to everybody, talks to them. Mark talked to me and then told me about Jesus, and then asked him into my life, and then everything just changed, and the Lord's blessed me tremendously.
Larry's life has truly been blessed. Through God's love and a helping hand from the people at Love and Care Ministries, Larry has turned his life around. He now shares that love with others who need it, just as badly as he once did. Handing food out on the streets, stocking the food pantry with donated goods, giving food kits to the homeless and poor. Larry Hulse returns the blessings each day with kindness while constantly sharing God's love.
Oh, I love working here. Getting to talk to people, helping people out. I try to talk to everybody that comes in here, and if I see like they're not having a good day, I'll go out from behind the counter and talk to them and ask them if they need prayer, and then if they need a Bible, I'll give them a Bible.
Larry's story has a happy ending. He's just one of countless lives that's been impacted by Love and Care. His time on the street was short, but tragic nonetheless. Up next, meet a man who spent years on the streets until a chance meeting with Mark Hewitt changed his life.
You know, I walked off in ashamed, but a few minutes later I started realizing how much love that took to be able to tell me that.
For more information on how you can help Love and Care Ministries, visit lcmin.com.
Thaddeus Bones Oxford lives his life for the Lord. He spends his time at Love and Care Ministries picking up donations, washing dishes, and any odd job that needs doing. Every day he shares the love he found there with those who have lost it. And Bones knows what it's like to lose everything. He had a family, a good job, and then they were gone.
My wife and I split up. It wasn't my choice, and I just got to where I felt unloved because I didn't know what real love was. I thought I wasn't loved, and when she left, I didn't really see any point in living. I decided to just, drink my life away. Ended up on the streets, full-blown alcoholic. It made me feel numb. It made me so that I didn't really care about anything. I didn't care about what was going on, and I didn't hurt.
For years, Bones lived his life on the streets, finding shelter wherever he could.
I slept right there on the dirt. I didn't have anything at the time, but most of the time I drink enough, so it really didn't matter where I slept. As long as I had something behind me to prop me up, I was, I would pass out and sleep and wake up, and it wasn't a very good life, but that's how I was doing it then. But this was the last place that I was really, truly homeless. We had a little group, and it was all pretty safe. I had good friends, we had good times, but those were just to cover up the fact that we were desperately, sorrowfully in woe. I mean, it was a terrible place to be, but the people you're with can make it better. A guy I met who became a friend told me there was a place called Love and Care, and they would feed me and they'd let me take a shower, which I desperately needed at the time, and they'd give me new clean clothes. So I went down there and was going to check it out. That's when I met Mark.
When Bones made his way to find Love and Care, he had a bottle of alcohol in his hand. As he walked, he wanted to take a drink, so he found a place behind a building and sat down. That building just happened to be Love and Care Ministries. He started to drink and had his first encounter with Mark Hewitt.
And I turned that bottle up, and Mark comes out the door, scared the snot out of me, and I thought I was going to be in trouble, but all he did was love on me. He said, "Man, brother, you don't have to live like that." And I walked off in ashamed, but a few minutes later I started realizing how much love that took to be able to tell me that without being mean. He just made me feel loved. And so I decided, I hung around, waited, and going in, and everybody in every step of the way was really sweet and loved on me, even though I stunk a lot. And that's what got me coming back, is people loving on me, just making me feel loved, because that was my issue, is I didn't feel loved, and they opened my heart a little at a time that way. Love and Care showed me love and care, and now I can give it away, and it's only because they've taught me more about God and how to accept His love.
For 8 years, Bones continued to return to Love and Care, each time accepting God's love more and more. With that love and the support of the Love and Care staff, he was able to quit drinking. One day, he felt a calling to volunteer there.
At first, I was doing it because I felt like I owed something to Love and Care for all that they'd done for me. But then when I started helping out in the pantry and giving food kits away and stuff, and seeing people and knowing that I made a difference in someone's life, and I started tugging on my heart really hard, I started realizing I was actually doing something, I was actually contributing, doing a little bit of the Lord's work. That just started a fire in me.
After several months of volunteering, God blessed his life once again. Bones was offered an apartment and a full-time job from Love and Care. He now has been working for 1 year. Throughout this time, Bones has seen the growth of Love and Care Ministries, especially in the kitchen. The number of people served lunch has grown tremendously, from an average of 100 meals a day when the revamped kitchen reopened in the fall of 2015 to as much as 300 meals a day today. And Bones? Well, he loves every second of it.
Serving coffee is my favorite thing here, because it gives me the opportunity to say hi to all my friends and see how everybody's doing, helping them with whatever I can help them with, For me personally, time is my most valuable asset, and when somebody can take a few hours out of their day and spend it here helping out, that means a lot to me and to the people who come here. I think just being here opens one's eyes to what's really going on out there and what the needs are. And there's more and more people in need of this kind of help. And it's not just the homeless. People think that it's all the homeless, but the people that I really, my heart goes out to are the working poor. I mean, they go out and you have a mother and a father working full-time jobs and still having trouble making ends meet for whatever reason. I think Love and Care promotes love. I think that Abilene is better because there is somebody here with a heart doing what we do.
For more information on how you can help Love and Care Ministries, visit lcmin.com.
Love and Care Ministries has found a home in Abilene and has been a success. It remains a success because the people involved have always kept one thing in mind.
If God opens the door for us and says, "I want you to look at this," then we go that direction and do it. We've always been faithful to the initial call, which is you have community here that needs help. Open your arms and open your hands and let me be used to serve. And we've never diverted from that.
The key to all this, I believe, is building relationships with people, and they learn to trust you and trust God, and they realize that you're not judging people, you're not judging them. God's told me for a long time, I don't always like what you do, but I love you. And so that's what I've grown to do with these people is I may not like what they do, but I'm called to love them and do it unconditionally. And so that's why I do what I do.
Mark Hewitt would tell you that the growth of Love and Care Ministries is all thanks to God. And while that's true beyond any doubt, this whole thing started because Mark did one thing that not everyone would do. He listened to God.
So many people, God puts a vision in front of them and shows them something, and they hesitate. They don't think they're worthy, or thinking that God's talking to the person next to them or something. But he answered the call. Mark stepped up and did what he's told to do, no matter how crazy it sounded. He's just the most loving person.
He's the genuine article. What people see in him day in and day out is legitimate. It's the way he lives. A man of extreme faith, follows that faith dearly. He has an amazing capacity to hear from God, and through that, it has the ability to give us an amazing vision for where we're headed and what we're doing. I love him dearly.
I don't know that Mark Hewitt can change anybody, but God does the changing. And so when people say, well, why didn't you change that guy? I can't do that. But I can love people, I can help people, I can try to get people from 1 to 2, 3 to 4, but it's hard to get them from 1 to 10 like that. It takes a relationship building, and that's what we're really about. So the future, man, it's in God's hands. I'm just the guy that works for the main guy and tries to every once in a while do what he tells me, and I hope I hear it right, but I'm forever grateful.
Love and Care Ministries is there to help anyone in need who walks through the door, and that need is constantly growing. Food, clothing, monetary donations. Love and Care Ministries needs your help so they can help.
For more information on how you can help Love and Care Ministries, visit lcmin.com.